I think the Mets look awesome. I understand it's frustrating because just as you're really starting to get this, and you've said, to Sal's credit, you have said even before Diaz started to pitch well, again, in a little small sample, that without him pitching well, Mets have no shot. Most indispensable player. Now he's gone for 10 games, understood. But I got to tell you, I mean, we have now crossed the point from, well, just enjoy the fact that you've had a season, Met fans. I think we're a little past that they've given you a season. Now I think you get a little greedy while being realistic, but also understanding it's not like, I don't know that you need to contextualize who the Mets are right now. Right now, the Mets just look like a good team, period.
Yeah, and that is, to me, yes, I'm going to try to prevent the Diaz stuff getting in the way of the big picture. But for now and this is what I mean about last week. Remember I said, everybody's like, oh, come on, embrace Grimace or get into it or believe in this team. And I said, okay, well, they need to go 4-2 over these 6 games, and then I'll buy in. And that's exactly what they did. And they did it in convincing fashion as well. So I was afraid to let myself go. And I told you that. I'm afraid because once I dive in, I know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. They're going to get swept by the Yankees or they'll get hurt. Whatever may happen. They'll get hammered in the next series and fall into the abyss again. So I was afraid to let myself go there. Until last night, until I watched it play out in Texas and Chicago. I let myself go there last night. I was giddy. I was excited. I was believing to a degree that I have not believed in this team, whether it's preseason or during the season, even at its highest points. I had not believed in this team and felt the way that I have, and we'll further the conversation, if not today, the rest of the week, whether this should be buyers, sellers, what is this team exactly. But I finally let that wall down last night. Finally. And that's what happens. And now you know why I have such a hard time going all in. Now, is it the biggest deal in the world? No. But yeah, I do believe Diaz is the most integral piece on this team.
Yep.
Without him, they have nothing in the bullpen. Not only him there, he's got to be dominant there. And now he's out for 10 games. That's a big stretch, especially against the Yankees here.
Well, you know what could have happened? Drew Smith could have come in and hit the first batter and given up a double in the gap, and then a base hit, and then you go to the pen, and you get a 2-run bomb, game's over.
Cubs stink, though. I wasn't even worried about that.
Okay, so that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, their lineup is not nearly, Swanson's hitting 209.
Yeah.
I hear you. But here's the thing. I actually think that should embolden you to an extent. Like, all right, I know the Braves, even though the Braves played well against the Yankees, the Braves have not really hit the way we thought that they would hit. And there's a few teams in front of you, not many, that I think, if I can't say you're definitely better than, you're right there. And by the way, you just jumped over 4 teams in a week.
Yeah.
So
they're still behind Washington in the division.
By a game.
Yeah, I'm just saying, still behind.
I know.
Still in 4th place, but the Mets are now legitimately, to me, a playoff team. Like a legitimate playoff team. They're 2 games under 500. That's where they needed to be going into this. Do you think there's a chance? Because I do. There's a chance that they can now go on, a rough streak or hit a rough patch here without Edwin Diaz. Think about it. Who's closing games? I don't trust Drew Smith. Mm-hmm. Okay, he got the job done last night. That's great. I don't trust him. I still think he stinks. Diekman's going to be the guy. Ottavino. They're without Brooks Raley, which hurt them all year. They're without now Diaz for 10 games. 2 of their best relievers. We saw what this team was like what they were without Edwin Diaz earlier, and now to have that again, like, why is it always something? Just when it was starting to turn and the momentum was in their favor going into this important Subway Series, this has to happen. It's always freaking something with this team.
Okay, I know you reference the Subway Series. Would you rather be playing like the Yankees are playing right now?
No.
And I know we'll get to them more later, but it's a Mets thing. But you reference that, and we understand what's coming tomorrow and what's coming on Wednesday.
Yeah, but the Mets don't have their closer now.
I understand that. Well, the Yankees don't have their cleanup hitter or their 5-hitter, and everything else that they're trying to do is right now in shambles for the most part. I think that this Mets team is I used the word interesting last week, because I've gotten there in phases. Honestly, very slowly, because I don't think you can have an opinion about a team the way I've had an opinion about these Mets for a while now, and based on 2 or 3 weeks of solid play, completely changed course. I think that's a little nutty. So by using the word interesting, that was my way of saying all right, I'm not there yet, and I'm still not all the way there. They're not a polished World Series team, obviously, but the state of the National League, the way their quote-unquote stars are starting to play, I mean, suddenly you look at 1, 2, 3, 4 in the lineup. Lindor, Nimmo looks very good in the 2 spot, and then obviously your big horses at 3 and 4. And Alvarez, who continues to play well.
Yeah, he's a beast.
He is. I would say, Sal, abandon the annoyance of this 10-game suspension. And also look at it this way. Of the 10 games that Diaz will get suspended, right? Let's say there's 2 routes where the Mets are getting rocked, where he wouldn't even be used. There's 2 routes where the Mets are bludgeoning whomever, and you don't even need him. Maybe more, okay? So, I mean, what does it really equate to? 2 or 3 save opportunities you convert? You convert 2 of the 3. It's no harm, no foul, no blood drawn. Big deal.
It just ruins the momentum that they had. If they got me sucked back in to the level that I am sucked back in, they're doing something. They've earned it. They've earned all of our attention, and they've earned the credit that they're going to be getting here because they are, to me, in the National League. And by the way, like now it's even more just about the standings. It's never been about the standings to me, but technically, if you looked at it, well, they're still in the playoff hunt. It's not about that. It's about how they're playing. Their lineup, to your point, looks legit. Lindor's not only hitting, he's coming up with now big home runs. He looks like a superstar again. Now, can he sustain it? I mean, we'll have to see how it turns out. But defensively, he's been an absolute stud. Offensively, he's going the other way, left-handed. He's pulling the ball with authority. He's hitting big home runs. Lindor looks like the star that they expected. Nimmo, you mentioned it. J.D. Martinez, even Alonso looking lively again. The bottom of the order with Alvarez in there. It's a good-looking lineup. Sevi last night dominating like the ace that they're paying him to be this year.
And we criticized that decision. Oh, is he trying to not pitch against the Yankees? Well, it doesn't matter because he pitched against the Cubs. He was terrific.
Yeah, and look, maybe getting Senga back, all the signs are there. To a point where, I was saying this last night on SNY, I was on live after the game. If they're going to, I was wrong. I'll admit, I was wrong about the Mets. And we poked fun at Cohen and Stearns when they kept referencing playoffs. I was like, come on, guys. What are we looking at here? Playoffs? You got to be kidding me. Well, they were right. They believed in this team. They stuck to it. Now, they don't have to be on the air every day and react to it, but they stuck to what they believed, that this was a playoff team. And now I'm with them. Now I believe this is a playoff team, but I'm going to take it a step further. If they believe they're a playoff team, and the Mets have shown that they look like they could be a playoff team, do not settle for, we'll get the 3rd wild card. No, you're either all in or you're not. You have a playoff team here. Well, fix it then. Add to it. They should be buyers, and they should be adding to this team. Again, not recklessly, like nobody's saying give up prospects.
Nothing that compromises the future.
Go take on money, bring in another starter. Don't try to halfway it by trading some guys that you think you get back. No, you keep everybody here intact, and you add to this, and you take a run at the Braves for the top wild card spot. The division's already gone. We know that. Why not? Like, if you're going to do it, do it. And I think that's where this Mets season is at right now. The only thing is the stupid Diaz thing, because I can't get over it.
Well, you're going to have to, because he's not pitching tomorrow. He's not pitching Wednesday. But I think it's awesome. I think the Mets have been so resilient this year. And, I mean, they were lucky in a way because they were obscured by the Knicks and the Rangers. When they were, to an extent. We always referenced it. All the shows referenced it. But we were so dug in to the hoops and the hockey that, even the Yankees, who were playing great, that was kind of obscured. So the Mets were able to kind of find this identity and do it. I don't want to say in obscurity because it's New York. Nothing's obscure.
Right.
But they were able to find their way a little bit. And some of the claims from ownership seem a little delusional. But I always said, I'm not going to hold Cohen to those words because I believe that when it comes time to make the decision of sell or buy, they're going to do the right thing because Stearns is going to be able to do his job. And I think that was a way to kind of galvanize fans and not throw in the white white flag or the towel yet, just to kind of show, hey, you can't quit. It's a horrible message to send in May. We stink. Back up shop. Don't come out to Citi Field. So I think they were resolute there, almost more from a business perspective. I also think that they believed more in their players than we did.
Right.
And right now, advantage Mets. Mets won, BT and Sal nothing. We didn't think that they were that good.
And that's fine. And by the way, like I was all for Lindor. I didn't expect him to get a season going after 2 months. So, I mean, that's a big part of this as well. J.D. Martinez, his impact, finally feeling comfortable to have his voice heard on this team. It took a long time for that to develop here. So they've looked like a different team. Their lineup is legit. The other areas they're going to need to add to if they want to become a playoff team. But the big theme, for me at least, feels like if you're going to be a playoff team, don't halfway it. The other part of this, obviously, and our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. The other part of this, BT, it's still fragile. Like, I'm all in now. I'm back to being all in and believing in this team, and I have a firm idea of what I want them to do. It's not sell, it's buy. But they're still in 4th place. They're still 2 games under 500. They are playing the Yankees here. As bad as the Yankees look right now, you know, the Yankees are still one of the best teams in baseball. And the Mets now don't have their closer, their most important piece to their pitching staff for the next 10 games. It could go the other. You know, they can't sustain a 3-7 here. And it is possible.
I disagree.
You think they can sustain a 3-7 and go back under again?
First of all, I don't think they're going to go 3-7.
I'm just saying.
I know what you mean. I disagree in the sense that even if they did go 3-7, like, they're still not buried. It doesn't feel right. I get it. Doesn't seem
not
authentic.
If you get this close. It's like the NBA game. You're down 20. You get, trying to get over that hump. You cut it to 2. The other team starts to go on a run, and you just can never get over that hump. That's where the Mets are at right now. Once they get to and over 500, I think it's going to be smooth sailing the rest of the way. Getting there is going to be the challenge. They've done the hard part. Now they're within 2 games. But it's so fragile that over the course of the next 10 games without Diaz, it could go the wrong way. BT and Sal on the Fan. Mike is in New Rochelle. What's up, Mike?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. How was your weekend, man? My
Good,
weekend
Mike.
was good. My season is back on, baby. Back on. Vientos, never given a shot by Buck, all right? It's proven. This kid, plug him in, all right, for the next few years. Vientos,
oh, my God. Stop with the few years. How about the next few games? Like, let's just focus on now. You've already got Vientos penciled in for the Mets Hall of Fame. I mean, come on. Let's watch him.
Pencil the kid. He's our third baseman.
Yeah.
All right?
For now.
All right? And Mendoza, bang-up job this year. Excellent job. Nobody thought this guy would be doing this job. He's making moves. The moves ain't getting made from up top. It's getting made from in the dugout. All right? Let's go, Mets. I still got to make deliveries. Have a good day, boys.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much.
There you go. Look at that energy. Start to grow a little bit. Met fans start to roll down the windows, feeling good. Start to puff out a little bit.
He talked about it with Mendoza. That was the turning point for me, or the, not turning point, but the pushing me over the edge back in point. That sixth inning last night, right? With Severino, he was in a little bit of trouble there. What was it, 15 pitch at bat or whatever it was with Bellinger.
Yeah, it was a battle.
Battling not only Severino getting the job done, but Mendy coming out to talk to him, managing with his gut, listening to his player, sticking with him, and getting through it. That, to me, I know it may seem small.
I don't think it seems small.
Yeah, it's rare in today's game, and it gets overlooked, but that's important. I love that. I love Carlos Mendoza and his combination of new school and old school, managing with his gut, no-nonsense guy, transparent. I love to see that, BT, and he was rewarded by his players. So that pushed me all the way in last night on this Mets team.
He's off to a very impressive start. And even when the Mets were scuffling, we were still talking very highly about Mendoza. We've always liked him. And I think last night you mentioned the situation with Severino, but even more in the transparency department, when he was asked post-game about Diaz, it wasn't, he didn't really protect Diaz. He was fairly blunt. He was like, well, rules are the rules. This is what it is. We got to keep it moving. So I appreciate that. I respect that. You know, he's a steady hand. And to Sal's point, he does seem to be a really refreshing combination of data, which every team's going to lean on, and gut, and knowing when to reach for one and maybe ignore the other. He's been very good.
He also looks in control. You know how some other guys, and I'm not going to pinpoint other names around baseball, but you've seen some other guys, whether they're relying on their bench coach or pitching coach, Mendy is in control. I'm not saying he doesn't rely on those guys.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, he's like, I'm not looking at the books. I'm not looking at the stats. I'm going out there and talking to my pitcher. I'm going to look him in the eye and talk to him, and I'm going to make the ultimate decision on that. And he's been rewarded. It's not the first time, obviously, that he's done that. But last night was it was a beautiful thing. Mike is calling from West Orange, New Jersey. What's up, Mike?
Thanks. Mike, Sal, just want to say I'm a very long-time Met fan. I just want to give a very brief take on Diaz. And at first, I hope somebody from Point 72 is listening. This could only happen to the Mets. Diaz last pitched on Tuesday. I think he simply forgot what he was supposed to do. You'd never hear that from management. So I'm basically done with my comment on Diaz.
What do you mean?
Meaning what? Like wash his hand or something? I don't understand.
No. I think he simply forgot what he was supposed to do.
Which is?
Which is the regular way that he always did it. He last pitched on Tuesday. I think he had a brain fart or something.
He said he said he did. Diaz said after the game he did what he always does.
Well,
sweat and rosin or whatever, and picked up some dirt.
The spider tech, yeah.
I can't buy that. I mean, he's basically a good guy. I just think he had a brain lock. I really think that. And you'd never hear that from management. I think that's safe to say. But hopefully things will work out.
Yeah, I mean, and thanks for the call, Mike. I'm not sure what would lead you to believe that he had a brain lock or forgot what he was going to do because he hasn't pitched since Tuesday.
He's basically saying that he's out of his routine, so which I'm not buying. I mean, it's an interesting theory, I guess, but
it's a major league pitcher. You think all of a sudden, what do I do now? Oh, is that my glove? Do I put that on this hand, or does he pull a grimace? Like, come on, what do you think? He forgot how to pitch or forgets his routine? No way. There's no way. I don't understand how this continues to happen. 8 guys have been nabbed with this stuff. And
is that the number?
3 of them have been Mets. Yeah, I saw it last night on social media. I mean, according to whoever's reporting, I saw it from, I thought, a reputable reporter. Maybe it might have even been Jeff Passan from ESPN. I don't know. It was one of those guys who were reputable. Three of them, 3 of the 8, might have been talking baseball, actually. 3 of the 8 have been Mets. Drew Smith, Scherzer, and now Diaz. So are they doing something wrong? Is it too much of a mix? Are they using some kind of bad rosin, or I'm not sure what's going on here.
I just think it's a coincidence with the 3 of the 8 Mets. I really do. I mean, by the way, we got to get to this coming up next. They've got some issues, some they've found a way to rectify in terms of pace and some other stuff. But this is just nonsense, the way that they apply this rule.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not even a baseline test.
Yeah. Touching his hand.
I mean, imagine if that's a playoff game. Seriously, imagine if that's a playoff game.
I am imagining that now.
Or if that's September and you're playing the Nationals, and you're playing the Nationals or the Giants or the Reds or the Pirates or whomever else is going to be in your way for that wild card spot, and Diaz gets booted.
Yeah.
And, which, fine. I understand there's a level of, all right, this is a little bit too much, but when there's no test.
Yeah,
it's so stupid.
We'll get into the way that they handle it when we come back, and we'll continue with your calls as well. 888-808-1019. We'll get into the Yankees aspect of it.
Oh, boy.
Ooh, baby.
Things don't look good, man.
Met fans could not have had a better situation going into the Subway Series. Obviously they could have started better, but based on where they were.
It's 2 different teams right now. It's two different teams right now.
The pendulum is starting to swing.
Oh, man.
Even I'm about to embrace grimace. 888-808-1019. BT and Sal on the Fan.